has been successful to date in resolving any issue that may have arisen. We believe we have a process in place. We believe it will be a successful one because there is a track record of it having been successful.
The gentleman's time has expired. We'll now recognize the Vice Chairman, Mr. Labrador from Idaho, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ambassador Kennedy, actually, Mr. Bowen, you said that we're spending $75 billion in Iraq currently. Do you know how much we're going to spend in 2012, FY 2012?
The State Department proposal is around $6 billion.
$6 billion. There's been a lot of testimony here that if we decrease the spending levels, we're not going to be able to do the mission in Iraq. So 75.6, we're looking at a $69 billion savings, yet we're asking for more money for the State Department. Ambassador Kennedy, what's the State Department's budget this year?
The State Department budget request for FY12 that the President has just submitted, sir, is $14 billion, $14.9 billion for State Department.
For the entire State Department?
For the state, yeah, the entire State Department, excluding our expenses in Iraq and Afghanistan. 14.9 for Iraq, 4.3 billion for Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and 14.9 for our core diplomatic mission.
Okay, Mr. Kendall, what's the Department of Defense budget for next year? What's the request?
I would hesitate to give you a number off the top of my head. I believe it's about $550 billion for the base budget, and here it is. I have it, I think. Nope, wrong answer. Let me give you that for the record. I'm sorry. I should have it in my head, but I don't.
Okay. But it's
524 base budget.
524 billion. So we're talking about 524 billion for the Department of Defense. The Department of State's going to have 14.9 billion. I mean, we're talking about a significant amount of money that's out there, and we're going to be saving a significant amount of money by drawing down. I'm just not really clear why we need additional money and why any cuts are going to be hurting us. Are there no savings out there that we can do? Is the Department of Defense, for example, not good? Since we're saving that money in the Department of Defense, can't we just transfer some money? I mean, explain this to me, Mr. Kendall.
The department's been under an intense effort to find savings ever since last spring when Secretary Gates made a speech in Abilene that you may be aware of. We have worked very, very hard. The services were all tasked collectively to try to find $100 billion in money they could save in efficiencies and move into other more value-added activities. We're cutting general officer slots. We're cutting senior executive slots. It's been an extremely intense effort to get rid of every ounce of fat we possibly can in our budget. If, as the Secretary has said, if we're going to sustain our force structure and modernize it as we need to, we absolutely have to find savings. So there's an intense effort there. There is not an ounce of extra fat, as far as I can tell, left in the Defense Department's budget.
And I applaud actually what the Secretary's doing, but it just seems to me that if we're going to be saving money in Iraq, and now for everyone here to
was put together after that was taken into consideration. So I would have had to request additional funds for the armored vehicles or the other equipment DOD was transferring to us. In other words, my request is net of the transfers that DOD is making to us. My request would have been higher if I was having to buy the equipment. Instead, I am receiving it from DOD, so I did not request that as part of my Iraq budget.
So is DOD transferring all the equipment that you need, or just transferring some of the equipment?
They're transferring everything that they have available in surplus.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Gentleman yields back. We'll now recognize